It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. The Sports Hit List presents Smoking Mirrors with Declan Krogman and the Polius Brothers, Greg and Stefan, breaking down the biggest news in sports, giving you the stories behind the story. Here for all the smoke, all the time, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Welcome, everyone. This is Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports Hit List on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, Stefan Polius, alongside my fellow hosts, Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. How you gentlemen doing today? I did see you yesterday, but I'm curious how you're doing today.
I'm doing well. As our teammates like to say, it's love day. We got another game tonight. And bounce back over that 6-inning defeat Declan's team gave us.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 6-inning game. Nothing much else to say. We split the season series and hopefully see you guys in the playoffs. I don't know if we play each other anymore. I don't think so. Greg said maybe there's something on the schedule. Yeah. Hopefully. Love playing you guys. Getting the squad out all on the field was fun last night. Hopefully we get to do it again.
Starting early. Sorry,
I didn't even mean that as I didn't mean that as disrespect. I meant that as always excited to get out on the field.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said. I'm just saying I froze, and I was like, damn, top of the show.
Oh, I thought you said I'm starting the trash talk.
No. Not at all. No, it's been great playing you, seeing you guys. I want to shout out Chuck from the Sports Hit List because he came out and watched the game. Appreciate you, Chuck, with your Sonic smoothie. Oh, no, I think it was a milkshake. But
we all went to Sonic after the game.
Oh,
that was the spot.
The line was too long. I wanted to, though. That's a great after-game snack, Sonic.
You know, I've never been to Sonic, and, I lost my Sonic virginity last night, and it was kind of all right. But I was really surprised that, I saw all these people on roller skates, and the Rangers still don't have somebody to take down Tom Wilson. That's just what I don't understand. You got the whole Sonic corporation. What do you imagine filling out a resume for Sonic? Good communication skills. You got to know how to skate through a parking lot full of cars. It's kind of impressive. No, could never be.
I'll be all about it.
Well, moving on from Sonic-related news to some football-related news. For those that remember, on draft day, there was a bombshell that was dropped by Adam Schefter regarding Aaron Rodgers and him being disgruntled. The quote, I'll get the tweet exactly. It's, reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers is so disgruntled with the Green Bay Packers that he has told some within the organization that he does not want to return to the team. League and team sources told ESPN on Thursday. Now, Adam Schefter decided to drop that on Thursday, draft day, which shook up the draft. We had a lot of people tuning in to see if the Packers were going to move Aaron Rodgers during the draft. Well, there was a lot of controversy. A lot of people saying that Aaron Rodgers hijacked the draft. He chose to make it about him and take it away from these future rookies of the NFL. Well, Schefter went on the Dan Patrick Show and clarified those remarks, saying that those did not come from Aaron Rodgers directly, and that it was a accumulation of information that he's received over, I guess, the weeks and the months, but decided to drop it on Thursday because apparently he received information from Paul Allen of KFAN that the 49ers were going to work out a trade with the Packers, and he was afraid that the story would drop before he got a chance to. So he sat on it, almost had it taken from him, so he dropped it on Thursday. That was his explanation. However, there was a lot of rumors surrounding Aaron Rodgers and him, again, trying to steal the light from these rookies during the draft. Deck, I'll start with you. What do you think about that? What do you think about Schefter dropping that news Thursday of draft day and even the explanation afterwards? Do you believe it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to blame Schefter too much. I think at the end of the day, yeah, it takes away from the kids, but it's also football. It's the NFL draft. I would say, in my opinion, it's the second biggest thing in football, media-wise, besides the Super Bowl. and maybe with the exception of a few big playoff games. So it's a madhouse there. Like Schefter said, if a trade ever came out of nowhere, right, and we had no inkling of any rumblings or any issues with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers and his camp, excuse me. Imagine that trade goes down and like, wait, what? Aaron Rodgers getting moved? Are you kidding me? Like, where is this coming from? And then you find out later that he was disgruntled. Then Schefter's going to be like, wow, I had that and I didn't say anything. So he was kind of put in a situation where he totally should have gone out and said it. Now, the question is if Aaron Rodgers told him himself, or was it Aaron Rodgers' camp? And that's why the whole discrepancy of, Aaron Rodgers came out and said it. No, he didn't. And I think that's where the problem might lie.
Yeah, he had confirmed that he did not speak to Aaron Rodgers directly about it. It was, speaking to people at the organization, maybe from his camp, but those words were not taken from Aaron Rodgers directly.
Right.
And Greg, what do you think?
Shocker, I disagree entirely with Declan.
Oh.
Welcome to Smoke and Mirrors, everybody.
Shefty dropped the ball here. And the biggest reason I say he dropped the ball is because the end of that quote you read, Steph, it says from league and team sources.
Yes.
That's the problem I have. Because then he went on Dan Patrick's show and said he did not actually have any sources. He was just going on information he's gathered just from seeing. Like he talked about the post NFC Championship interview. He was like, well, he looked disgruntled. This was all based on Shefty's opinion. This is a guy that has built himself as one of the most credible sources in the NFL circle, and people literally don't take any news seriously unless he drops it. And what he's done is essentially turn an organization on its head because he felt the need that he wanted to drop this news at this. He knew what he was doing when he dropped it on draft day. He knew that it was going to take headlines. It would, especially, now that there was no Deshaun Watson trade talk, anything like that, his headlines would take front and center. And it was pure manipulation on his part because you can't tell me you're this credible reporter and you've always had all these, keynote sources to drop information, and all of a sudden you're dropping a source, and then you go on a national show and say, well, it wasn't actually sourced. Nobody actually told me any of this. I just put it out there because I felt that's what was going to happen. That's bogus. Shefty should be better than that.
Yeah, I do agree about the point. I mean, him sitting on it for me was the issue. Like he could have come out sooner. And again, making it sound as if he got these from credible sources and not doing that at all. And it was I do believe he did speak to some people, but it wasn't, he didn't get that information directly from a source and saying, yes, I can confirm that this is what's going on. That does hurt your credibility. I ultimately, I think that taking the pressure off of Aaron Rodgers, because there was a lot of hate. I think he went to a Brewers game and he got booed.
He got booed on the Jumbotron, yeah.
Yeah, he got booed on the Jumbotron because of this situation. Adam Schefter created this situation of fans who are saying, well, Rodgers doesn't want to be here. He doesn't care about the team. And he's facing backlash. So this story coming out, Adam Schefter finally explaining the situation helps Aaron Rodgers to me, and
Pat McAfee.
Yes, and Pat McAfee was getting a lot of heat for sticking up for Aaron Rodgers. So thankfully, Schefter came out and explained that, but that was definitely a shortcoming on his part. Moving on, still sticking with the draft, since there's so many interesting things that happen, and when you think about the draft, you think about the players and how they're evaluated. The NFL evaluators, they like to look at the talent, but also the character of a lot of players. And when you see or when you hear that a player's character is in question, you tend to think, oh, well, they were gang violence, or they were a troublemaker, they were bad off the field. And a lot of that pertains to the black athletes. They tend to slide on the board because of it, questions of character, not talent. But there's one player I would like to speak about that I find interesting that we didn't hear anything regarding his character.
There you go.
Talking about that Zach Wilson has liked some pro-Trump. Did I? Oh, man. What's the last thing you heard? Because I was really feeling myself a little bit.
Zach Wilson, pro-Trump.
Hey, that's perfect. All right, everything else went through. All right, so Zach Wilson liked some pro-Trump and anti-kneeling tweets in the lead up to the draft. This is late 2020. And you hear that, you're probably like, oh, it's not that serious. A lot of people say it's not that serious, but you have to read in between the lines, which is what these NFL evaluators usually do, right? Because to me, you can't look at Zach Wilson's background and situation, knowing he comes from a school that's 90% white, and not think about white supremacy and how him liking those tweets, liking anti-kneeling tweets, can read, right? Because you're talking about investing in someone. This is a second overall pick, the face of your franchise. And you saw in Justin Fields how his question of character had him slide to 11, right? Now,
which could have possibly been 15 without the trade.
True, very true, right? And that hurts his pockets, right? So we're talking about money, but also his placement, because this is a guy that was considered 1B to Trevor Lawrence before Zach Wilson's buzz started.
Even in December.
Yes, but his character comes into question, and now we're talking about, well, he's out the top 10. Zach Wilson, on this, at the same token, these issues he's having in a league that
I believe he was going to say
you're seeing more social justice permeating itself. I'm sorry, I'm good. Sorry.
Yeah.
Also in the league that you see that there's social justice is permeating, right? That is something that is more present in sports, in football itself. Kneeling was what started with Colin Kaepernick. However, that it's not stopping there, right? And I have a hard time believing that Zach Wilson, again, is supposed to lead the organization. He's not a DN. It's not like it's Nick Bosa, who had issues with his the tweets he was liking and tweets he was sending out on his social media. He's a quarterback. You know, you're talking about, again, face of the franchise, a guy that's going to lead your locker room. The only other person I could think of that had a controversy like this was Drew Brees. And Drew Brees had to walk his comments back once he his peers questioning him. So Zach Wilson, along with other white players in the NFL draft, I don't believe received the same scrutiny as black players do. You have a former college DN, Austin Lane, who was asked, if you could kill someone and not get caught, would you? What kind of targeted and staring questions are those for black athletes and focusing on a certain thing where we're potentially letting other aspects and intangibles slide for other players? So I do believe that there's a double standard here. Greg, what do you think? I'd like to know your thoughts.
First of all, I must make it known that every time we talk about this, that I wanted Justin Fields over Zach Wilson. And this just kind of speaks more to that point. Even in the video we saw of Zach Wilson on draft night around other black players and him looking so uncomfortable, it makes you wonder how he plans to lead people that don't look like him if he can't even feel comfortable around them. So now that's all speculation. I'm not saying he isn't comfortable. I'm just saying what it looked like on camera. But I think the biggest thing for me is how it is in the draft process, in the collegiate draft process, how they're analyzed. Why did we not hear about this not once until after he was drafted? It's not like these tweets were hidden. Why were they not discussed? Why did we question whether Justin Fields couldn't go through his reads because he had something, I believe it was epilepsy or something like that?
Yeah, epilepsy.
We heard about that, even though he performed at the highest level of college football. And Zach Wilson, probably best game was against the SCLSU Mud Dogs. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that. And Zach Wilson shot up the draft board without proper vetting. It's really frustrating. And then, you know, and even though running back is a different position, but you got guys like Kareem Hunt that dropped to the third round, even though they're first round talents, because of character issues. To me, this is a character issue because now you're taking someone who hasn't stepped foot out of Utah once in his life, and you're putting him smack dab in the media conglomerate of the world. And he has to then completely shift and be out there and in the open with everybody. Now, this is not a knock on. I don't care if he supports Trump. I really don't. That's not what this is about. But this is about, like you said, Steph, those underlying narratives, because this is a tough conversation for a lot of people to have, and they don't want to hear it. They only want to hear, well, I don't want politics in sports. Frankly, that's BS, because politics has been in sports since its inception. So I don't want to hear that either. So now you're bringing this type of mentality in to guys that you have to gain their respect. How can you gain their respect if you can't even show that you respect what they believe? You know what I'm saying? I could respect that he's a Trump supporter. That's fine. But if you then start shitting on like what I fundamentally believe as a person and the struggles that I have to go through as a person, how can I take your leadership?
But I was going to say this real quick before you jump in, Deck. I don't look at this as politics. These are human rights issues. They like to conflate them with politics. And that's not the case.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that came through. Yeah, all right. Yeah, Deck, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that last quote's really good. That's a key issue. I think overall you guys are on the right path here, in my opinion. I mean, we look at guys like Mac Jones. He had 2 DUIs at Alabama, and that was only a back page thing yesterday, or 2 days. Not even a back page thing. It was just something scrolling down Twitter. You saw a meme, because that's what it's treated as. It's taken lightly with him. I knew Zach Wilson was a Trump supporter for a long time now, because Jet Country was calling him, or Jet Nation, or whatever bogus name you want to say, was calling him Mormon Mahomes. We heard MAGA Mahomes. So this is nothing new. As far as him looking uncomfortable on draft night, it was pretty clear that he did look uncomfortable. Yeah. Justin Fields, sorry, I'm battling a little allergies here. The whole Justin Fields thing is funny to me, because with him, it was never what he did on the field is going to be an issue, or really even his off the field stuff besides the epilepsy. It was always like what school he came from. Since when are we going to view BYU as a more credible school than Ohio State? Like, I just don't understand that. I think that's so ironic in itself. We're looking at a guy who went to Ohio State, went to the national championship, went toe-to-toe and flat out outplayed Trevor Lawrence. Listen, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a lot better, but let's call it like it was. He flat out outplayed him in the semifinal in the NCAA championship. So why he slid down the draft boards, we'll never know. Clearly, I mean, they haven't really given any reason, or I guess we will know. They haven't given any reason on the field why he would slide, and I think it's BS.
Yes, and the one thing I do want to say is, like Greg said, it's not about him supporting Trump. Again, I look at this as it should be fair instead of this double standard, right? The way we evaluate the black players in the NFL draft and the white players, it's not the same scrutiny, all right? And that is the
If Justin Fields was a Trump supporter, we would have heard about it. It would have been huge news.
Yes, I just think it's a part of the evaluator's process, and it should go both ways. It's something to think about. It's something to evaluate, especially if you're for where he was taken. Second pick overall. I would be curious how he could lead my locker room. How if the guys in the locker room would trust him. All right. Again, these are issues that matter to them in their lives, not when they're just on the field. When they leave the field, who they are as people. All right. That is
reminds me of Josh Rosen.
So
this reminds me of the Josh Rosen whole question about the player he is, the person he is off the field, the teammates issues at UCLA. It says a lot of parallels.
Yeah. So we're heading to break. Stay locked in. This is Smoke and Mirrors presented by the Sports Idiots on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll be right back.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Smoke and Mirrors on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Welcome back. This is Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports Idiots on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside my fellow hosts, Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. We're talking a little football before the break, but we're going to get into some basketball. And we're going to talk about our favorites, I should say, the Knicks and the Nets. All right. Greg, don't worry. I'm starting with the Nets. I don't want to get into you. I'm not going to tear into you too quick. But the Nets have clinched a playoff berth. All right, they're the 2 seed right now, and they have potential to be the 1 seed. They're 2.5 games back of Philly, and they're looking good. I mean, they're playing well. They did drop their last 4 games, but they have the 4 games against 2 against the Bucks, 1 against the Blazers, 1 against the Mavs. So they went against some good teams. You do have KD and Kyrie that are playing well. Seeing KD back is always great. but they have not had James Harden yet. There's a report out there saying that James is expected to be back before the playoffs, maybe a few tune-up games. Hopefully he can come back. Deck, I'm curious, what do you think about them gelling when you finally have the big three again? Because it's been a while since he's been on the court. Going into the postseason now, having not been around all three of them or all three of them being around each other, what are your thoughts on them going into the playoffs with their all their guys healthy?
Yeah, I think it'll be really important for them, no doubt. I don't think it could be, understated or overstated enough, rather. If you can come in a week before the playoffs and get everything together, fine-tune everything. Listen, we know these are three great players. Harden and KD have history. KD and Kyrie are really starting to gel when they're both on the court at the same time. I think getting the big three out there is going to be so important. Get, guys like Blake Griffin and a bunch of the others a lot of minutes.
Blake with a double-double.
Well, I like to, yeah, exactly. I like to rub that in Greg's face because he doesn't like him. But overall, I think it'll be really important. I think they can actually get the 1 seed. I'm not a believer in the Sixers this year. I know Embiid's had a great year. Yeah. Did anyone hear that? Oh, my phone just rang. I think that the Nets can get the 1 seed and make a run here, but I do think they'll have to get their guys back next week before the playoffs start.
But I don't think it matters as long as James Harden comes back and runs the point. Because what the Nets essentially had a chance to do is allow their bench to play starters minutes while these guys were hurt. So now in the playoffs, they bench can give them quality minutes. Jeff Green, Landry Shamet, I forgot the other backup point guard. I think his name is Green. I forgot his name.
Also Joe Harris.
These guys. Well, Joe Harris is a starter.
So well, he starts. I'm saying to solidify him more of a leadership role while these guys are out.
Yeah. So I think this actually helped them in the long run. As long as Harden runs the point, because he's been such a great facilitator the last few years, he knows how to put guys in the right spots and find guys in their sweet spots. I think they won't have an issue.
Harden, Steph. That's how we're aligned. Harden is Steph. Not Steph Curry, Stephen Polius.
I was a little confused.
I was a little confused. I was like, wait a minute, what?
No. Harden, Stephen. I thought you were about to make like some major point. I'm like, breaking news on Smoke and Mirrors.
Yeah. James Harden and Stephen Curry are the same person? No. I was making an analogy to the big three on our show.
Appreciate it. It's I'm happy to see the Nets clinch the playoff berth, but it's also nice to see the Knicks over in Manhattan doing their thing, and they haven't clinched a playoff berth, but they're the 4 seed. And I mean, I will say the Hawks are right there with them, but they look good, Greg. They continue to look good, and I'm not saying that burns you, but I feel like as a former fan,
Carl wants it to burn me so bad. He wants me to be upset about it. He really does. Shout out to Carl. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that the upcoming schedule, they have the Suns tonight. They have the Clippers, Lakers, Spurs, Hornets, and Celtics. So you're looking at a slate of that's 5 games. You have 6 games, and it's not like you're going against sub 500 teams. You have the Lakers that are fighting to stay at the 6th seed or advance to the 5th, so they're not in the play-ins. Same thing with the Celtics. And really, I would just say the Hornets. The Spurs are sitting at, say the Hornets and Spurs, maybe. The Spurs, I think, are at 9th or 10th, and they're playing in the play-ins. There's no way of getting out of it, really. But the Knicks have a harder schedule right now moving forward than, let's say, the Hawks, who are right behind them, 1 game behind them. But I like the way the team is looking. They seem really solid. Greg, what as a Memphis fan, I'm sure you keep up with your former Knicks. How do you like their chances of staying at the 4 seed?
I think it's a toss-up. It could go either way, to be honest. Hawks are hot. Carl's in the comments hating, talking about the Knicks are better than the Grizzlies. I'm okay with it. They had their little hot streak. Leave my Grizzlies alone. But I do. But either way, I think they're going to play each other in the first round, and I think that series is also a toss-up.
That should be fun. I have a question. If James Dolan ever sells this team, do you come back, or you're tied?
Depending on who buys. But right now, follow John Morant and my guys over in Memphis.
John Morant and the gang. and that's
Yep.
John Morant and everyone else.
Pretty much. I mean, but Dylan Brooks he pops up every now and then when he chooses to.
I mean, you got Jaren Jackson Jr. just came back. You got Jonas Valanciunas, who's been kind of a stable down low. Kyle Anderson took a big leap this year. They have young Desmond Bain, sharpshooting outside. They have young guys, even DeAnthony Melton coming off the bench at the point guard. I'm probably saying names. People are probably like, who the hell are these guys?
Very true. Unless they play 2K and they like Memphis as well. Unless you're a Memphis fan or you play 2K and you just happen to play as Memphis.
I've had some 2K randomized get Memphis go against some loser playing with the Sixers.
But yeah, I think they do have a good young core. I do think they're a player or two away from competing in that conference. And also, John Morant needed to be more consistent. He'll drop 36 one night and he'll drop 8 and 12 the 2 games after. He got to be more consistent.
We'll get into that a little bit later. Deck, what do you think about these Knicks? You think they staying at the 4 seed? They dropping? You have faith in them?
I do have faith in them. I think that the city's rocking really. I don't think since I've been elementary school have we seen the Knicks be that much of a hot target, like a topic of conversation in a positive way. It's like I'm not used to it. We have to get used to it. I'm really not.
Hold on. Can we focus on that? Did you hear what he just said? He said, I'm not used to it. And then people give me flack for not for leaving the Knicks. In his entire lifetime, he's 18 years old. He said he's not used to the Knicks winning.
I'm not. I'm really not. Like Linsanity, I was in 4th grade.
That's
like
crazy.
Hold on.
That's it.
That's the signs of a true fan. All right, someone through thick and thin. All right, and not when it's been bad and all he's known is bad. He's stuck around.
Yo, I'm not even a Knicks fan. I've never been a Knicks fan.
True,
I've stuck around. I've stuck around for 30 plus years, so I want to hear that true fan stuff.
Hey, I mean. I'm just saying, like when you're a diehard fan, if you grow up as a fan of a team and then you leave at some point for whatever reason, you just got to question, the loyalty.
He's 18. People have put their kids through college before the Knicks were relevant.
You know what? I should have been a Knicks fan just so I could have learned true heartbreak at such a young age. I would have been better for it. I
honestly think that's the case as well. A Knicks Mets. Jets combination builds character.
We say it all the time. Losing builds character, bro.
100%.
Seriously. Yeah. Well, I would say they'll keep the 4th spot, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs. I'm really excited for it, even though I'm not a Knicks fan, just to see New York basketball. My city's rocking. It's always exciting. I'm a Celtics fan to an extent. Like, it doesn't matter to me that much. This year they kind of fell off the wagon a little bit.
I'll get you on the air.
Yes. I'm a disgrace to Celtics fans. I'll say that right now, and I'll say that loud and clear for everybody. But it'll be nice to see the city rocking. New York basketball is back, and hopefully it's here to stay for years to come.
Yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with you. I do have a question for you, Greg. Where does KJ fall in this?
He's a Laker fan.
Fandom?
Oh my God. Dolphins and Lakers?
When he first started playing 2K, the first thing he said is, "What team is LeBron James on?" And I was like, "It's on the Lakers."
He's a LeBron James fan. He's a LeBron James fan.
Yeah, but the fact that he already told me the other day, he's like, "You got to get me Laker hats. I need Laker hats. I want a LeBron James jersey." Like he's all about it. Even when we played 2K, he wanted to pick me. Like I'm not gonna. I like that he could pick his own team and feel that way because he's showing his individuality. So I'm good with it. I still smack him in 2K though.
Well, he's not going to want to go to Memphis. I mean,
oh no, I beat him with Memphis by like 40.
He can't follow that.
Where's Memphis?
Yeah, he can't follow that.
I do when everything opens back up though. I would love to take a road trip to Nashville and Memphis Lakers game. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, for
the Lakers,
for KJ and the Lakers. What I find interesting is, as a child, I never went against what my parents the teams they rooted for. I ended up rooting. Yeah, I ended up rooting for those teams because my parents did. I think a lot of us can relate to that. So it's interesting to me to see KJ just like, oh, you're a Jets fan. The Jets suck. Dolphins all day, and it's like, what?
I mean, it kind of speaks to the kid he is at the same time, though, where it's just
True.
like
and his generation.
Yeah, definitely.
Christian Dior's in the chat saying, proud to be beating on a 5-year-old.
That's our cousin, and he was 7. And let's not act like you weren't happy when you were beating us in video games when we were his age. So I don't want to hear it.
Look at I like that. I love that.
Losing Bill's character.
I love that Ted shows up every now and then to throw like a little fun fact in.
Shade. Yeah.
I love when we had Garrison and he's like, how can you deal with 3 polices? I can't even deal with 1. That was funny.
See, Carl's in the comments said his dad was a Knicks fan. He said no, they stink, and he became a Celtics fan.
My dad was a Celtics fan. In my house, it was always baseball, football, basketball, distant third, and hockey not even on the map. So that's kind of what I was brought up on. And that's where the Celtics, Yankees, Giants, Celtics is such a weird
honestly, when I was younger, I did it like when Madden Lee was playing first base, even when Tino Martinez got there, I would root for the Yankees until I had my personal gripe with the organization. Then I didn't care for them much.
Well, that's fair. I understand that. I would too. But also at the same time, you're saying you root for Madden and everything, like, it's kind of when they sucked a little bit. Like early in the 80s was a tough era.
It was early 90s. It was a 93, 94.
Oh, that's true. You were young. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. That's true. I would say that's fair because in 95 they did go against Seattle in the ALDS. That was
I've always enjoyed. I think I not only I gravitated to the Mets because of my father, but also because I like the colors more than the Yankees. I felt like the Yankee colors were boring. I just like watching baseball.
I think that's fair. I'm totally about that. As a Yankee fan, like the Mets uniforms, in my opinion, are just so much more appealing to look at. I know the pinstripes are iconic, but I'm with you on that.
I just want to say it's been very difficult to follow your conversation because I am in and out. I hear like every other word, and it's a little frustrating. My Wi-Fi is giving me fits on a Friday, but please bear with me, everyone. I do want to put a little update in this show for you guys with my fantasy team, Basketball Jones. I don't want to hear oh boy. All right, you're a little jealous because you're not in any postseason in basketball. That's fine, but
or the league.
Just as an update for those that haven't been a part of the conversation, I was an 8th seed all the year long in the Sports Hit List Basketball League, Fantasy Basketball League. And I snuck into it, the playoffs, the 6th seed. I won the quarterfinals, won the semifinals, and now I'm in the championship, going against the number 1 team. Shout out to
Juggernaut. The Juggernaut.
Yeah, his team is ridiculous. Right now, the score is 7-2. Jarv, he's doing a great job. He picked up 3 guys, I think, on Monday, and I wasn't expecting. It really threw me off. I was Dion Wright, who he picked up.
I know. I think his name is DeLon Wright.
DeLon? Is it DeLon? Yeah, DeLon, you're right. DeLon Wright picked him up, and he's made a huge difference, honestly. I thought I was going to have steals, don't have steals. But it's 7-2. Jarvis winning. But I have made my pickups. I'm feeling good going into the weekend. We're going to see on Monday what the deciding factor is. But it's exciting to be in the championship. I will say this, and I noticed this when I looked at his team. I've said it a few times. I drafted Hassan Whiteside in the 5th round. Who went right after Hassan Whiteside was Capella, and that's who's on his team. The man that's been putting up double-digit rebounds game in, game out, and I kick myself every time I see it. But that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Y'all, I need all the help I can get, so pray for me. Basketball Jones is trying to pull one out.
Need all the help in the world.
I really do. And if Anthony Mullins listening to this, suck it.
We gotta timestamp that. I gotta post that.
So uncalled for, but
very called for.
Very called for. But with that, we're gonna have the commercial break. Stay locked in. This is Smoke and Mirrors, presented by Sports Hit List on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll be right back.
It is the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Smoke and Mirrors on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Welcome back. This is Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports List on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside my fellow hosts, Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. We're talking some basketball before break, and we're going to get into some baseball, which we all love to talk about. It is Love Day, as Greg said in the beginning of the show. And a bit of, I want to call it sad news. I felt sad when I heard it because it kind of feels like the end, but Albert Pujols was designated for assignment by the Angels after, having a start the start of the season was very poor. Batting, I think, about 193 under the Mendoza line. But Pujols, if you remember, signed a 10-year contract worth $253 million, which was huge back then.
Still huge.
Seriously.
It was sad to see it. I'm not too sure what the next move is. The next move is if he's trying to move along and play with another team, or potentially signing a short-term contract with the Cardinals and looking to retire. But Greg, I'll let you speak to it. How do you feel? Pujols is someone we all grew up with. Seeing the end of an era is always hard.
Definitely. I think we kind of knew it was coming. He hasn't performed to the level he did in St. Louis, because that 10 to 12-year stretch he had was just ridiculous, winning Gold Gloves at different positions, batting titles, Silver Sluggers. Like he was just ridiculous. Yeah. I would love to see him, retire Cardinal. I think that's how it should go down. But maybe even give him a shot. I know you don't want to see guys come off the bench and pinch hit, because I don't know if he can play first base anymore to the Gold Glove level that he used to. But I would like to see him give him a shot just to see if he still could rekindle some of that talent. But if not, just retire Cardinal.
Agreed. Dak, what about you?
Yeah, I think I would love to see him get a shot for the rest of the year. It would be great to see him be a Cardinal, but I think he gets screwed by the no DH in the National League now, because that would have been a spot that he could have fit in nicely. He could have split time with Matt Carpenter against righty-lefty, because, obviously Carpenter's on the bench, but we probably would have seen him DH if that rule was in effect in the National League. He's been linked to nothing more than smoke and mirrors here, but linked to the White Sox a little bit, because Tony La Russa was the manager.
Yeah,
that might be something. I don't want to say that. Almost like, would you feel like? And I just to pose this question: if you spent 12 years in St. Louis, or however long it was at least a decade. If you spent that long in St. Louis with Tony La Russa as your manager, do you feel more at home in St. Louis with a new regime there, new players? Like I don't think there's any active players. Matt Carpenter, Adam Wainwright. Yachty, yes, of course, Yachty. The three there. Or do you feel more with your manager in Chicago? Do you feel like that's more of an environment you might be more comfortable in than if you played for new guys?
I would say that St. Louis is just home. It's more than just the organizations, it's like the community, right? Because he was very active outside of what he did on the field. So I think going to Chicago wouldn't sit right. I mean, yes, Tony La Russa, but
it wouldn't look right either. Now that I think about it,
it wouldn't at all. But it
him
would
in a
be,
White Sox uniform, no.
To me, it's more community based, and just being with St. Louis to, like, let's say, end his career if he wanted to, finish up with them here this season. I think that it's more meaningful than just trying to attach himself to Tony La Russa.
So before we go on, shout out to Manny. I'm not going to call you Schefter because he's on my ish list right now. But Manny in the comments said Miguel Iron Glove Andujar will replace Gio Urshela until he recovers from the knee injury. So it looks like the Yankees. Yeah, it looks like the Yankees defense is going to suffer a bit more with Andujar up.
And so is my fantasy team.
Well, with Gio not on there too. I mean, Gio's great. He's not going to be on the IL though. Excuse me. He's going to be a little bit day to day. They're just sending down a pitcher. I think it's Albert Abreu they're sending down.
Yeah, but I do think Andujar can help it because he can hit. That's one thing he can do.
Yes.
He kind of reminds me of like a Eddie Rosario before he found his footing in the outfield, where he had an iron glove in the infield.
That's a really good comp.
Yeah, and but he always hit. No matter where he played, he always hit until he found a spot in the outfield.
Yeah, I do like that. Greg, what are your thoughts on seeing Albert Pujols in stripes with the White Sox in Chicago?
It's weird. Like, I can't picture it. And I think what you said about community is spot on. I think it's more than about the game for him going back to St. Louis and guys that he's played with for that decade plus. You know, they were there when the Cardinals winning started. Their winning ways really came to fruition in the modern era of baseball with Yachty, with Wainwright.
Yeah. Don't forget Chris Carpenter. Don't you?
I was gonna say I wasn't Chris Carpenter. Yeah.
Who got kicked in the back by Johnny Cueto, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait, who's the Cardinals manager again? Is it Matheny?
No.
Now?
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, now.
Who is the Cards manager? That's a good question.
Because
I can't think of it offhand.
Dude.
No, I think that
Mike Schultz. Shout out to Speedy. That is who it is.
Oh, okay.
Not on that.
Facts. Thank you, Speedy. Okay, because I remember Matheny was playing on the Cards, so that kind of takes that out of what I was going to say. So thank you, Speedy. Appreciate it.
I will say, Pujols, Hall of Fame career. Nobody is going to dispute that. He leads all active MLB players in home runs at 667, RBIs 2,112, hits 3,253, and games played at 2,886. He was so consistent. Even when he was with the Angels, it wasn't the same player as the Cardinals, but he was so productive. 2015 hit 40 home runs.
Can I say something about the Angels real quick?
Yeah.
Here we go.
The Angels as a team, I don't know if it's because they're on. Yeah, as an organization, I don't know if it's because they're on the West Coast, but like Mike Trout is having a ridiculous season, and we hear nothing. He's going off.
It's regular.
He homered in 10 straight games,
and exactly, and
dating back to last season.
And we hear nothing about it. And I don't know if it's an organizational thing or if it's an MLB thing, but why we hear more about middling teams like the Astros and the Yankees right now than we do with Mike Trout, who is the best player in the game at this very moment.
I agree with that.
It makes no sense.
I think it's an MLB issue, though, as far as like marketing Mike Trout the way he needs to be marketed. The guy's amazing. I will say, as baseball fans, we tend to just expect it, right? If Mike Trout was doing something he hadn't done, you'd hear more about it. But he's just so good and so consistent at that level that it just becomes, Mike Trout hit 3 home runs in the last 2 games. Yeah, it makes sense. He's batting almost 400 at this point in the season. Yeah, Mike Trout does that.
Sounds about right.
It's not surprising when it comes to Mike Trout, and I think that as an organization, the MLB should do a better job of making that seem like it's ridiculous by comparison, because it is ridiculous. But I know I come to take it for granted.
And Manny's right. We hear about Ohtani. It's not just an Angels thing. So, I mean, it could just be a league-wide thing who they decide to market. I mean, Rob Manfred called out Trout for not marketing himself. I guess he forgot what his job was, but I'm not sure what that's about.
But also, Ohtani is the sexier story, right? This is a two-way player who everyone's expecting, either he's fragile or he won't be able to do it. He won't be able to pitch well.
Shout out to Ralphie.
Well, yes. Shout out to Ralphie. But yeah, Ohtani is someone that you're seeing dominating. He hit his 10th home run last night, which is tied for the MLB lead with JD Martinez and Acuna. And it's ridiculous because whether he's on the mound and he's throwing 101, K'ing up 8-9 guys, or he's at the plate and he's just hitting 400+ foot bomb.
It's incredible.
What's amazing about Ohtani is the level of consistency in which he hits.
The comp that people like to say.
Say Babe Ruth?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
I would say the comparison. That's what people like to say. I'm just putting it out there. You already know where I stand on that.
Steph is gonna get in and be like, I don't think it's a fair comp, guys. I mean, let's just be real. We're talking about Babe Ruth. Ohtani's already better than Babe Ruth. Let's cool your heels. No, we know where Steph stands on Babe Ruth.
One other thing I did want to mention is just his line, right? So he's batting .273, 22 runs scored, 10 home runs, 24 RBIs, 6 stolen bases. Even for a guy that's fragile, he is moving on the pads. He's taking bags.
Isn't he among the league leaders in stolen bases?
He stole 2 bases in a game the other night.
Oh, yeah, he did. He might be in the lead. He might be up there, 1 or 2, because I remember Hampson for the Rockies. I think he has 5 or 6. No, I think he has 7 now. Garrett Hampson has 7 stolen bases. So if you look that up and let me know.
Speedy is asking, didn't someone on the Sports Hits say Babe Ruth was overrated? That would be myself and my brother, and we will gladly debate anyone on it, anytime, anywhere, any place.
Speedy jumps in right now. We get a little 2 on 2 going. Well, actually, nah. It's some men's league stuff, though, what Ohtani's doing. Like pitching and playing.
It's the other side, I guess, of the spectrum is Francisco Lindor. For those
hitting
that
worse than
are
Albert Pujols
aware,
was, and
even if you're not aware, you don't even have to follow baseball to know that Francisco Lindor is slumping right now. He's batting a whole 163 under the Mendoza line. He had a 0 for 25. He's not. He had a 0 for 25 hitless stretch, which is just bad, and he has not been good with runners in scoring position. He was booed at Citi Field most recently, and it's a shame because he obviously got paid. People see that. We all know that. And the New York fan base reacted the same way you expect the New York fan base to react. Now, Greg, I'm going to kick it to you. What do you think? Is it deserved? Is it too soon? And if it is deserved, what is the next step really for someone that hasn't really been in a market this big to try and adjust?
New York fans are fickle. We know this. It's 22, 23 games, and it's not deserved. There's 140 more games left. I believe a player of his caliber is going to turn it around. And what I do like about him, it's not letting his offense being bad is not letting his defense suffer. So I do think that he will get it. I as a whole, it's not just him though. It's the Mets offense. They left 17 runners on base against the Cardinals. Thank God we won because Taijuan Walker pitched a really good game. Shout out to my fantasy team finally getting a W. But
guy's been good.
Yeah, but you can't. That was I think that was an MLB. You can't leave 17 guys on base. That's really and terrible on the Cardinals for not even capitalizing on that. Like that's a game you're supposed to win.
They need Albert Pujols. I mean, my God. I mean, yeah, Lindor is struggling. It's no secret about it. Speaking of Pujols has had better numbers this year than Lindor, and he got DFA'd, which is crazy. But yeah, listen, he's not smiling as much anymore. I'd like to see him get it back. But hey, we did see some interesting stuff in the Bronx this week. We had a lot of boos, a lot of cheers for the Pinstripes. I mean, that had playoff intensity.
Yeah. Great segue because we're going to talk about the Yankees. And, the boos, the Yankees, the fan base really loving when the Astros come to town because there's a different energy in the Bronx when they're there. But the Yankees are doing well. I think one player that every Yankee fan was waiting to get started was Stanton. And he has been hot. He's been consistent. The bats seem like they're coming alive. They're waking up. Even though the Yankees are still just one game, or I should say they're second to last in the division, not one game, but second to last in the division, but they are looking a lot better than they were early in the season. Deck, what do you think about your Yanks? Are you excited? I mean, I know you don't believe the hype about them, underachieving. It was just a matter of time for you. But how does it feel? What do you think going forward? Any kind of improvements they can make to really tip the scale more in the win column?
Yeah, in the words of Jimmy Garoppolo when he was talking to Aaron Andrews, it feels great, baby. But I'm happy with what the Yankees have been doing. That Astros series was huge. It would have been great to get the sweep. I mean, really, really great to get the sweep. One inning blew the whole thing open. I'm going to say it right now. The Yankees listen, I said it before the series. I'm going to say it more. We're going to see it in October if the Astros get there. The Yankees are a much better team than Houston is. I love what they've been doing offensively. Stanton's been on a tear. Judge was doing really good until this week. Yeah. Really, this Astros series, he kind of fell off the map a little bit. I think he went 1 for 4 the first game and then held a platinum sombrero yesterday, 2 days ago, which you always don't want to see. Obviously, don't need to even say that. Not even a golden sombrero, man. It was 5 times. It was a platinum sombrero. He celebrated Cinco de Mayo in a major fashion by getting the 5 Ks, which you never like to see. I think he's hitting like 265 now. I liked what I've been seeing from Jameson Taillon and Corey Kluber. We'll see them pitch against Washington this week. Herman didn't pitch great, but he somehow outpitched Zach Greinke in his eephus pitch, which is crazy. So we'll see where everything goes from here. Nice series against the Astros. Great to take 2 out of 3. The fans, I mean, we're at 10,000, minimal capacity. I can only imagine what it's going to be like in October to see Zoo York finally back, as they say. to get it back in business. So I'm so excited. I think it's great. And yeah, it's a fun time. Hopefully they can take 2 out of 3 and win the series against the Nationals.
Nice. Yeah, Greg.
We actually need you guys to beat the Nationals, so please do that.
We got you.
I think there's an amazing amount of parity in both leagues this year, and we're going to see a lot of teams beating up on each other. And I think the Yankees-Astros rivalry is great for baseball, and I think I want it to be that rivalry of the Padres-Dodgers on the in the AL East side or AL side of things.
Yeah.
So I love it. I'm all about it. I'm Team Astros. Shout out to my guy Jose Altuve. So
you can't be Team Astros in an A's shirt.
Well, we all know that we all know this is a jersey of a team that I play for. This is not a team I root for. So let's put that disclaimer out there, right?
Everyone doesn't know that, but you did put a disclaimer now. So moving forward, they should know. But I think you need to preface it every episode because it is confusing to those that don't.
Declan tried to go below the belt there and say like I'm a fan of the A's. That's why I'm wearing the A's jersey.
I think that's fair game.
Very interesting. I said it's just very interesting that he's wearing an A's jersey and he's talking about the Astros. It's just comical. But like in a fine way. I should have worn a Sun Devils jersey. That could have been fun, but they don't play in the big, so it doesn't make sense. So even still. Great week of baseball. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Thank you. I really appreciate it. The headband went over very well in the during the Zach Wilson hype train over the draft. So
and I'm glad for that. But with that's our show. I really
appreciate that.
That's our show. Hope you enjoyed. It was great. Hey, have a great weekend. We're going to be back on Monday between 1 and 2. I'll give you more of the smoke and mirrors that you love and enjoy. But till then, I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. We'll see you soon. Take care.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.